What winning an NBA championship would mean for these NBA finalists. If the San Antonio Spurs win the NBA Finals for the 5th time in franchise history, it could mark the beginning of a new dynasty. Led of course by the alien from France, Victor Wembanyamas, following in the footsteps of Spurs legends such as Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Wemby would become the first player since Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994 to win both the DPOY and Finals MVP awards in the same season. And all of that in only his 3rd year. On top of that, he led his team to a 60+ win season, finished top 3 in MVP voting, won the DPOY unanimously as the youngest player ever, and made the NBA Finals in his very first playoff run. The people who framed him as the biggest prodigy since LeBron James would be proven right, and Wemby would undoubtedly become the face of the league. Although we all know the NBA would have preferred an American star, such as Anthony Edwards in that position, the incredible ratings of the Spurs Thunder series are proof enough that Wembanyama is the future of the league. No matter how many more seasons LeBron plays, the NBA would already have its next poster child ready. Let's not forget that beating the Oklahoma City Thunder on the way to the finals would make the title even sweeter, proving that the Spurs' regular season success was no fluke. Including the playoffs, OKC lost 8 games to the San Antonio Spurs and only 14 games to the other 28 NBA teams combined. A remarkable feat in itself. Additionally, Harper's and Castle's contributions cannot be understated, with Castle only in his 2nd season and Harper becoming the first Spur to play in a Game 7 before turning 21, they would prove once again that this team is way ahead of schedule. And let's not forget Luke Cornett's heroics in Game 7. That chase down block on Hartenstein will forever be ingrained in our brains from now on. If the Spurs can avoid any major injuries in the years ahead, it could signal the return of a Spurs dynasty, and fans across the globe would have every reason to be excited about the future. If the New York Knicks win their first championship in 53 years, they would finally end one of the longest title droughts in professional sports history and bring the mecca of basketball back to the top. This would be the 3rd championship in franchise history and Jalen Brunson's first NBA title. It would also open up an even bigger discussion about Nico Harrison's greatest mistake, trading Luka Doncic or letting Jalen Brunson walk for nothing. Regardless, Nico Harrison deserves to be fired twice for this. Brunson would undoubtedly become the greatest free agent signing in Knicks history, elevating the franchise from a solid playoff team to a legitimate championship contender. Let's just not talk about his defensive efforts. He would win a championship in just his 4th season with the Knicks, after leading them to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and reaching the Eastern Conference Semifinals twice before that. The most impressive part might be how quickly he changed the culture in New York. When Brunson arrived in 2022, many questioned whether he was worth the contract. 4 years later, he would be delivering a championship to the most demanding fan base in basketball. A very strong case for him. But is it already enough to be called the greatest Knickerbocker of all time? Probably not. The legacies of legends such as Patrick Ewing and Walt Frazier are difficult to surpass, especially considering that Frazier won 2 championships with New York. However, Brunson would have something neither of them ever achieved, leading a championship team as the undisputed #1 option. Ultimately, the Knicks front office could be extremely proud of themselves for turning the Villanova reunion into one of the greatest success stories in franchise history, proving nothing beats the power of friendship. They would also be vindicated for trading Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns. I bet Minnesota would be kicking themselves after Cat played arguably the best basketball of his career. And perhaps most importantly, Brunson would instantly become a New York sports icon. In a city where championships are everything, delivering the Knicks' first title since 1973 would make him a legend forever, and probably bring the city into a frenzy we've never seen before, even for New York standards. I mean, just look at how they were celebrating sweeping the Cavs. And that wasn't even at home. Now imagine them winning it all, after over half a century. I actually wanted to make this video weeks ago, during the conference semifinals. The plan was to discuss SGA's 2nd ring, Donovan Mitchell's 1st ring, and James Harden finally winning an NBA championship. But
I guess we'll never know.